So one day this lady wakes out in her yard, and there's a big gorilla out there tearing up her trees. So she freaks out. She's like, what the hell's a big gorilla doing in my yard? So she calls the police department and says, you gotta help me. There's a giant gorilla in my yard. It's tearing up my yard. Well, so the police department, they tell her, hey lady, we don't handle gorillas. You're gonna have to, call somebody else. So she calls the fire department. She says, hey, you gotta help me. There's a giant gorilla. He's tearing up my trees. Well, the fire department says, lady, we don't handle gorillas, but we know maybe the animal rescue people can help you out. So she calls up the animal people, the rescue people, and she goes, hey, there's a big gorilla. He's tearing up my yard. And they said, lady, we handle cats and dogs and things of this nature. We don't handle gorillas, but we have a number for a man who does handle exotic animals, things like gorillas. So she calls this man up and she says, you got to help me. There's a giant gorilla and he's tearing up my yard. God's sake. And the guy goes, I'll be right over. And he comes on over, and about 5 minutes later the doorbell rings and she answers the door, and there's a big giant fella with a pit bull on a chain in one hand and a shotgun in the other. And he says, you the lady with the gorilla? And she goes, yeah, he's in my backyard. He's tearing up my trees. So she takes him around back there, and sure enough, there's a big old gorilla tearing up the trees. And he says, now lady, here's what I want you to do. He says, I want you to hold this shotgun, and I'm gonna go get my cage, and I'm gonna set it up out here, and then I'm gonna climb up in that tree up there, and I'm gonna wrestle that gorilla, and I'm gonna knock him down out of that tree. At which point this pit bull's gonna run over and is gonna bite him square on the nuts and hold him down till I can get down and put him in the cage. And she goes, okay, but what's the shotgun for? And he says, that's in case I fall out of the tree. Then I want you to shoot that dog. Thank you for your time.